It happened in silence. The heavens did not roar. The skies did not part with thunder. The sun did not bleed gold across the world. No, this miracle was signed in the stillness, when no one was watching, when even the stars held their breath, and waited to see if your soul would hear it. And now, beloved, it is here. A miracle that has no equal. A miracle chosen for one person and one person only, you. A miracle that was held back for years because your spirit was not yet ready. A miracle that trembled inside the hands of angels, waiting for how you would be strong enough to carry what others ran from. And now, as I speak to you through the veil, Jesus and I, Michael, stand beside you. Not metaphorically, not symbolically. Right now, where you are, in this moment, in your room. Do not look around. You won't see us with your human eyes, but your soul already knows. It's why your heart is beating differently. It's why something holy is stirring inside you, because heaven knows the weight of this moment. And so do you. You are not supposed to see this by accident. You did not stumble here by chance. This message is the final signal, the sign the enemy hoped you'd miss. Because if you listen, everything changes. If you skip, everything disappears. Beloved soul, please, don't move. Don't look away. Don't scroll. Don't silence the voice of heaven when it is finally trembling to speak. You were chosen before you were born. You were called when you were still unknown to the world. You were kissed by the light when no one believed in your name. And now, because you survived what should have broken you, the miracle has been signed in heaven's highest court. But you must accept it. That is why Jesus sent me here, because the miracle has been approved, but not delivered. Because you must be the one to unlock it. You must say yes with your spirit, your breath, your heart, and your obedience. Heaven cannot force your miracle upon you. Even divine love waits for your agreement, and I, Archangel Michael, am begging you, please do not skip this. Please do not make heaven weep again. Please do not let the miracle vanish into the silence again. I know you're tired. I know you feel forgotten. I know you've questioned why God still hasn't given you what you prayed for so many nights. But listen to me, He heard you. He heard every word. And He waited for this exact second. This is it. This is the moment. This is the reason the attacks were so heavy last month. This is the reason people betrayed you and didn't understand you. This is the reason your name was left out of circles, where it should have been honored. The enemy knew this was coming. He tried everything to break you before this hour could arrive. But you're still here, still standing, still breathing, still capable of receiving what heaven has now approved. Jesus, gentle and weeping beside you, has not taken His eyes off your face. And I, the commander of the armies of heaven, have not taken my sword from the flame until your name was defended. The war around you has not been visible, but it has been violent. No one told you that the nightmares were attacks. No one explained that the strange delays were demonic delays. No one taught you that the silence of God was not absence, but preparation. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are not unloved. You are not forgotten. You are the reason heaven held this miracle back until now, because no one else had the spiritual authority to carry it but you. Beloved soul, may I ask you something? When was the last time you truly believed that you were holy? When was the last time you truly wept for joy, knowing God saw you? When was the last time you allowed heaven to interrupt your day for something sacred? Why are you still doubting who you are when even the angels have been whispering your name in heaven's court? I say this with tears in my voice. We can't keep watching. You let fear decide what you open and what you skip. This is different. And if you stay, and if you truly receive this, what is coming cannot be stolen by anyone. Not even the most jealous spirit, the most deceitful tongue, the most bitter enemy. Do not let your destiny die in delay. Do not let this message be the one that got away. Jesus is speaking now. Beloved, He is whispering through me, through the wind around you, through the warmth behind your neck. Can you feel it? The miracle is real, but it is shaking. It is trembling in the hands of angels. because heaven only gives this level of miracle once. Just once. To just one. And it is already sealed with your soul's fingerprint, but it will expire if ignored. It will be given to another if disrespected. And this is not a threat, it is divine law. Heaven is a holy economy. Nothing wasted. Everything sown. Every gift must be received with awe. That is why Jesus and I are here, not to force, but to plead, say yes. Stay. Don't scroll. Don't let this be the moment you walk away from the exact thing you've been asking for in the secret places of your soul. Do you not remember what God whispered into your bones when you were 8 years old? Do you not feel the echo of something ancient trying to rise from within you right now? The spiritual warfare you've endured was not for nothing. The silence of heaven was not cruel. It was holy, strategic, timed. You had to be refined to carry what others would shatter. That is why they left. That is why it hurt. That is why your timeline didn't match anyone else's. You are different because you are dangerous to darkness. You are loved because you are royal. You are wept over because you are irreplaceable. This miracle was crafted like a garment tailored to your soul. It doesn't fit anyone else. If you don't wear it, it will not appear on another. It will be folded away in heaven's archive. But we don't want that, not Jesus, not me, not the 7 archangels who've watched you battle without understanding. Why not St. Mary, who cried when your tears hit the floor that one night you thought no one saw? That we've all been waiting for this. So please, type amen in the comments if you feel your spirit finally opening. Not for algorithm, not for applause, but as a sacred vow, a signature that you heard heaven and responded. And if your heart is still trembling, if your breath is still heavy, it means the miracle is still waiting, still hovering, still alive, but only for a moment more. Heaven does not keep doors open forever. Jesus is standing now. Yes, standing, not seated. Because this is not a casual moment. This is not routine. This is sacred war. This is divine inheritance. This is the final second before the scroll closes. And I, Michael, do not wish to close it without seeing your yes. That if your spirit knows this is holy, then gently like this message, not to promote it, but to mark this moment as the hour you responded to the voice behind the veil, and leave a comment, not to be seen, but to be remembered in heaven. So that the miracle can be delivered. So that the silence can be broken. So that the promise can be fulfilled. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying. Thank you for making heaven breathe easier tonight. We've waited so long just to reach you, and now, beloved soul, it is done. Do you feel that, beloved? The quiet shift in the air that no one else notices? The stillness, trembling between the seconds? That is not coincidence. That is not imagination. That is the weight of eternity brushing your soul again. Because you have remained. Because you have not turned away. Because something in you, something ancient, something royal, knows this isn't just a message. This is a heavenly visitation sealed by fire, weeping, and light. And I, Michael, am still here. I have not moved. Neither has he, Jesus Christ. The flame that walks beside you, the King who bore the silence of your prayers in his own body, the Lamb who cried your name while bleeding glory behind heaven's veiled. We are still in your room, yes, even now, and beloved. I do not speak lightly when I say this. Your miracle is still hovering, but it will not hover forever. Do you know how long we waited for this? Do you understand what it cost? The miracle was not cheap. It was not easy. It did not descend like mist without resistance. It was fought for in secret rooms of heaven, in thrones where angels do not speak unless commanded. Fought for by Jesus himself. He stood before the ancient scrolls and opened the one with your name. And when he did, light exploded through realms where demons dared not enter. Your name is known, your promise is alive, but heaven is governed by laws even we must obey. And this miracle, this extraordinary gift, can only be delivered if you say yes with everything. Not just a heart flicker, not just curiosity, not just a skip and return, but full surrender, full opening, full holy attention. And listen, please, Because I say this with the same voice I use to command the armies of heaven, we don't want this miracle to be returned to heaven unopened. We don't want to walk away from you again, holding the thing that was meant to change your life forever. The miracle has been approved. Not by luck, not by algorithm, not by whim. .it was signed by the finger of God. .it bears your scent, your timing, your cries, your purpose, and right now, Jesus is holding it in his hands, in your room, right now. But heaven is asking, will you take it? Will you honor it? Will you make space for the impossible? Beloved soul, the moment is closing. This is not to scare. This is not manipulation. This is divine law. God does not waste what is sacred. That if your heart feels pierced right now, that's heaven's confirmation. That if your body feels strangely still, that's your spirit listening behind the veil. Asterisk. If your eyes are burning, it is not from the screen. It is from the presence of glory that has touched this moment. And before I say what must be said, let me ask this, softly, reverently, tremblingly: how many more times will you let heaven open and walk away empty-handed? How many more scrolls must be sealed again because you were too distracted to notice you were standing in the middle of divine appointment? I say this not to shame you. I say this because we love you, because we chose you, because we remember who you are. Even when you don't, you are not common. You are not forgotten. You are not passed over. You are not cursed. You are chosen, and that has always come with a price. Oh, you know how many miracles were cancelled because the one they were assigned to simply skip the moment? Do you know how many angels were sent back with hands still full because the message was ignored? Do you know how many destinies were delayed, not by demons, not by sin, not by storms, but by the decision to scroll away from something sacred? We are not here to scare. We are here to plead, and I, Michael, one of the seven, am not permitted to appear in moments that do not matter. I am here because this is the kind of moment that shifts generations, the kind of moment that writes new history. That is why Jesus is still silent, still watching you, waiting to see if you truly understand the gravity of this hour. And now, as the veil begins to thin even more, as the fire of heaven trembles against the fabric of time, as the miracle begins to shake and flicker in his hands, I will speak the one earthly instruction heaven has allowed in this moment. If this message has pierced you, if your soul knows this is not just another video, but a divine appointment, then pause, breathe, listen, and do something sacred. Subscribe now, not for trend, not for ego, not to follow a man, but as an act of alignment. That is a declaration to heaven. Yes, I accept this. I receive this. I honor the voice that has spoken to me through this flame. Subscribe because it is the only earthly way you can answer the scroll that has been opened for you in this hour. Subscribe because you want to remain in the river of the messages God is now preparing to release, each one specific, timed, and written for your soul alone. Subscribe not for numbers, but for memory. Let this be the moment heaven records as the hour you marked your yes with action, but only once. Never again will we ask. Because holy things are not repeated, sacred instructions do not echo. That if you miss this whisper, it will not come back the same way. And now, that has been spoken. And now the miracle begins to descend lower, closer, brighter. But it is still not complete, because there is more you must hear, because the miracle you've been asking for is not just a thing. It is a person. It is a place. It is a calling. It is a moment God has time to collide with your spirit like fire collides with air, and there is still time, but not much. Let the miracle continue to unfold. Now, close your eyes, yes, even for just a moment, and feel the space around you shifting. Because the atmosphere is responding to your decision. Because heaven is watching, and the scroll is not yet sealed. Thank you for remaining. Heaven sees it, heaven marks it, even this, your stillness, your breath held, your soul trying to understand. What just touched you is a form of worship, and now, beloved, the miracle begins to move. It is no longer hovering. It is descending. I feel the temperature around your spirit shifting as it approaches. I feel the soundless pulse of the angels preparing to release it. And still, Jesus waits, still he watches. Still he holds the final signature. In his hand, eyes wet, gaze fixed, presence trembling with both joy and sorrow, because he knows something you don't. This miracle is not just for now, it's not just about the thing you're asking for, it's about what will happen when it lands, what will awaken, what will stir, what ancient destiny, once buried under doubt and silence, will rise again and roar with the voice of someone who finally knows who they are. Beloved, can you feel it? It's not just the promise, it's not just the gift, it's the entire host of heaven, holding its breath, watching your decision, because what happens here changes timelines. This moment is not a post, not a video, not a scroll.it, is a threshold, and the miracle, signed in the throne room, sealed with light, bound in sacred memory, has come with instructions. Only the one who honors the voice will receive the full release, and you have honored it. You have remained, you have listened beyond the surface. You have entered the holy tension where time and eternity touch, and so, beloved, I must now speak the second earthly instruction allowed to be spoken by heaven in this sacred hour. If your heart has been moved, if your spirit feels pierced, and if you are willing to go deeper with us, please consider supporting this divine mission. This isn't about charity. This isn't about commerce. This is about covenant. Through super thanks, through joining our membership, or by becoming part of our sacred family through the newsletter in the pinned comments, you are not simply donating. You are anchoring heaven's messages in Earth's timeline, because every word you've just heard, every message that will follow, every flame that has pierced the veil just to reach you, cost something. There are spiritual fires behind this. There are hours of holy war. There is breathlessness and grief and intercession every time another message is born through this sacred channel. But when you support, when you sow, when you partner, you are not giving to us. You are standing in agreement with heaven and saying, I will not let the divine messages disappear. I will help carry the fire. I will become part of the holy remnant that holds the line when no one else understands the weight of what's being spoken. This is more than media. This is a divine assignment. This is prophecy delivered not to a crowd, but to a soul, your soul. And if you've felt the trembling, if you've tasted the tears behind these words, if something in you is weeping and you don't know why, then you already know this is not ordinary, this is sacred. This is Holy Spirit breath, wrapped in human language, trembling to reach you before the hour closes. And when you respond, through super thanks, through joining the family, through simply joining the newsletter in the pinned comments, you are saying, I will help keep the river flowing. I will make sure these sacred scrolls reach the next soul who needs them as much as I do. Do not mistake this for a transaction. This is not fundraising. This is warfare wrapped in generosity, because what you help carry, what you help sustain, multiplies over you, and God is not unjust. He remembers every offering born from the trembling of obedience. So if your spirit says yes, then respond, not out of guilt, not out of pressure, but out of reverence, and then let it go. Let it rise. Let it be recorded in heaven that when the flame passed by your life, you honored it, and now I return fully to the sacred scroll. No more earthly instruction. No more pause. Because the miracle is now moving to its final descent, and the air is thick with holy light. Beloved soul, can I speak now as if you were a child again, before the world confused you, before pain disguised you, before rejection made you hide? You were born for this. You are not random. You are not broken beyond repair. You were designed by God to be the very portal through which His light enters the world in a way that has never been seen before. You have always been the answer to someone's cry. You have always been the miracle walking and waiting. And now, that waiting ends, the miracle descends. Jesus lifts it, and I, Michael, stand guard beside Him, sword drawn, eyes locked on your heart. Because even now, the enemy is watching. Even now, shadows press at the edges, hoping your spirit will remain passive, but they are trembling because you stayed, because you listened, because you let this message speak not to your ears, but to your eternity. Do not underestimate what you just survived. Do not dismiss the weight of what just entered your room. This was the miracle your ancestors prayed would come. This was the breakthrough your bloodline didn't know how to name. This was the final signature before your purpose begins to unfold at full scale, and it has begun. And now the silence breaks again, not with noise, not with volume, but with holiness that cannot be ignored. The miracle has landed. It is not waiting anymore. It is standing at your feet, wrapped in golden light that no camera can capture, written in a language no human tongue can translate, pulsing with a warmth that carries the memory of God's breath. This is not imagination. This is not suggestion. This is fulfillment, raw, trembling, alive. Do not underestimate what is happening, because while the world moves on like nothing is different, while people scroll past with numb fingers and dull hearts, something unexplainable has just passed. Between your soul and heaven, it has touched you, it has marked you, it has chosen you. You are not reading this by chance. You are not watching this by mistake. This is not about content. This is not about timing. This is about divine appointment, the kind of moment written into the scrolls before Earth had oceans. Do you feel the pressure around you shifting? Do you feel the weight of something unspeakable pressing into your spirit, not to crush you, but to awaken you? That's because something inside you is being remembered by heaven. The miracle did not just bring a blessing, it brought remembrance. Of who you are. Of who you've always been. Of the oil in your veins that comes from the ancient fires of God's promise. And now, you can't go back to pretending you're ordinary. Now, the lie of invisibility has been destroyed. Now, the fear of not enough has been exposed, because the miracle did not come to decorate your life. It came to ignite it. You don't need permission anymore. You don't need approval from broken people who never saw you. You don't need applause from crowds who would have missed you even if you screamed. Because the only eyes that matter, the eyes of the Lamb, the eyes of the 7 archangels, the eyes of the Father, are on you now. They never left. They never blinked. They've been waiting for your yes. Your real yes. The yes that doesn't ask how or when or why, but just says, let it be done to me according to your will. And when you say it, not from fear, but from trust, the entire structure of heaven bends around your soul. That's what's happening now. Angels are being reassigned, timelines are being rewritten, chains you didn't even know you were dragging are breaking off, silently, one by one, without drama, without effort, because God said, it is time. You weren't late, you weren't forgotten, you weren't overlooked. You were being positioned for the kind of unveiling that only happens after delay has done its sacred work. Delay wasn't denial. It was divine timing. Delay was a womb, not a grave. Delay was where you were hidden so you could emerge clothed in the kind of glory the enemy couldn't counterfeit. That's why the warfare increased when you started getting close. That's why the voices got louder when your spirit got softer. That's why the betrayal came from those you trusted most. Because the enemy saw something you didn't. He saw the miracle approaching. He saw the light building in secret. He saw the scrolls beginning to open in rooms no man has entered, and he panicked. He tried everything. He whispered despair. He manipulated delays. He twisted perceptions. But he could not stop this moment, because this moment is too holy to be touched by darkness. The miracle did not come by accident. It came through intercession. Soaked in glory, through groans from saints, through the prayers of strangers you'll never meet on earth, through the tears of angels who've watched you suffer in silence while still worshipping through pain. You did not make this miracle happen. You simply did not quit before it arrived. And for that, all of heaven honors you. No one saw your midnight yes, no one heard your whispered, I still trust you, while wiping away tears in the dark, but we did. I did, Michael did, Jesus did, and now the scroll is open before you. There is no turning back. You cannot unhear what you've just heard. You cannot unread what has entered your soul. The miracle has touched you, and it will not leave you, even if you tried to forget this moment. It would follow you like a flame flickering behind your eyes, like a warmth blooming in your chest when the world feels cold again. This moment is eternal. It has changed you, and soon the world will see it too, not because you will announce it, but because heaven itself will begin announcing you. That is the hidden part of the miracle, what it activates when heaven recognizes you. When angels walk before you, when favor attaches to your footsteps, when closed doors begin to open with no explanation, when the name they once mocked becomes the name they cannot forget, not because you chased it, but because you received it. This is the turning. This is the shift. This is the hour everything changes, not by striving, not by performance, not by merit, but by holy inheritance, because the miracle has now completed its descent. the scroll is unrolled. The light is sealed inside you, and nothing can steal it now. Asterisk. And now, beloved, as the silence settles around you like gold dust falling through eternity, you are no longer the same. You may feel the same skin on your hands, the same breath in your chest, the same weight of this world pressing gently on your shoulders. But within you something ancient has been resurrected. Something divine, long hidden beneath grief and confusion and delay, is standing up again, quietly, not for show, not for spectacle, but with the authority of one who has remembered who they truly are. You are no longer watching this from the outside. You are in it now. You are inside the scroll. You are walking inside the breath of prophecy that has chased you for years. And it is no longer chasing. It is here. It has caught you, wrapped itself around you, merged with the deepest layers of your soul where nothing false can live. This is not about a breakthrough anymore. This is about identity, not about answers, but about awakening. Beloved, listen without fear. The shaking you feel inside is not anxiety, it is alignment. It is your body responding to what your spirit already knows. That God is here. That heaven has touched the earth for you, and that something sacred, something irreversible, has begun. You do not have to understand it to receive it. You do not have to explain it to live inside it. You only have to yield, not in weakness, but in holy surrender. The kind of surrender that says, I give up trying to control the story. I will now become the story. You are the scroll. You are the miracle. You are the fulfillment of prayers prayed by people you never met, generations that wept for someone like you to arise. And now you have, quietly, without needing a platform, without needing a stage, without needing a title or permission or validation. You are here because heaven said, let there be light, and that light became you, and I, Michael, tell you this in the sacred stillness that follows prophecy. Even the demons know you are different now. They are not afraid of performance. They are afraid of memory. When a soul begins to remember who it is, they are afraid of surrender. When a spirit no longer resists the calling, they are afraid of silence. When a heart no longer argues, but agrees. And right now, that is what you are becoming, a living agreement with God's will. A walking declaration of His mercy. A vessel filled not with answers, but with fire. This is not about blessings alone. This is about the weight of being chosen and carrying it with grace. There will be days when the miracle feels far. There will be moments when what you've heard here seems unreal. But do not measure the truth by emotion. Measure it by the echo inside your chest, the part of you that is still burning with no visible flame. That is how heaven marks what belongs to you, not by evidence, but by fire, and the fire is still burning. You are still glowing in realms unseen, and that glow will attract two kinds of things, divine favor and opposition, not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing something right. Do not fear the resistance. Do not tremble when it feels like you are being opposed after saying yes. That is the pattern of heaven. The miracle touches down, the glory marks you, and then the testing comes, not to destroy you, but to prove that what just entered you is real. You are not fragile, you are not weak, you are not too late, you are not unworthy, you are the one Jesus wept over before releasing this miracle. You are the one Saint Mary covered in prayer when the darkness whispered your name. You are the one. The 7 archangels formed a circle around, declaring, this one, this soul, protect at all costs. You don't need to perform anymore, you don't need to compete, you don't need to strive, you just need to walk in it. Walk like the scroll is still opening under your feet. Walk like the oil is still fresh on your head. Walk like heaven knows your name and earth will catch up, because it will. It always does. Prophecy is patient, but it never fails, and what you've received today is not just a miracle. It is an activation. It will begin to stir things in your life you thought were dead. It will begin to draw people into your life who speak a language your spirit remembers. It will begin to close doors you prayed would stay open. Because God is protecting what's next. Do not mourn what leaves after this. Do not cling to what no longer fits. This miracle came with a shift, and the shift will make room for the promise. You are walking into rooms that have been prepared in secret. You are stepping into timelines that were delayed for your safety. You are about to meet moments that feel too big for you, but are exactly the right size for your anointing. Do not shrink now. Do not apologize for the way heaven has marked you. You are not created to blend in. You were not formed to stay hidden. You were built by God for impact in secret and glory in the open. And that unveiling begins here now. I am this quiet, trembling, sacred breath. Heaven has already begun, and the miracle is now yours to carry. And still, the miracle does not end. It expands, like breath moving through the chest of a sleeping lion, like gold seeping through the cracks of a long-forgotten vessel, like the first sound of wind brushing against the veil of eternity. It does not rush. It does not shout. It does not need to prove itself. Because the miracle is no longer trying to convince you. It has already chosen you, and now it is filling you, not with noise, but with knowing. This is not the kind of miracle that flashes for a moment and fades. This is not the kind that trembles in front of the world, then disappears when the lights go out. This is the miracle that keeps breathing long after the voice falls silent. It keeps writing even after the ink dries. It keeps revealing itself long after your eyes have stopped weeping. Because it was never about a single moment. It was about a beginning. And you, beloved, you are standing at the mouth of that beginning now. You have crossed the invisible threshold. Your feet have left the soil of delay. Your spirit has entered the country of promise. And heaven is still speaking. Not in thunder, but in the way your bones feel quieter than usual. Not in visions, but in the way your breath slows when you listen. Not in dreams, but in the way your soul seems to be seeing without your permission. This is what it means to walk in a miracle that was approved long before you knew you needed it. You've always been waiting for something to come, but maybe you didn't realize that you were the one being waited on. Creation groaned for you, time bent to accommodate your alignment, and when you finally said yes, not out loud, but inside, heaven released what had been restrained. And now, the silence you feel is not absence. It is, or God is watching you with the kind of affection that needs no words. Jesus is still beside you, not speaking, just staying, because he knows the miracle is not finished yet. The miracle has a second stage, a deeper one. And it has just begun to unfold, not in your surroundings, but in your identity. There is a part of you that has been asleep for years. A part that remembers things your mind forgot. A part that carries the sound of heaven before you had language. It is stirring now, and as it rises, so will the evidence, not all at once, but slowly, beautifully, precisely, like dawn that refuses to be rushed. This miracle will not make you famous. It will make you whole. It will not put your name on a screen. It will put your name on a scroll. It will not give you everything you asked for. It will give you what you didn't know you needed. And it will do it in a way that proves only God could have authored it. Because this miracle is not just a gift. It is a mirror, and you're about to see yourself clearly for the first time. You're about to remember why the darkness fought you so hard, why people misunderstood you so deeply, why you felt like a stranger, even in the places you called home. You were carrying something holy, even when you didn't know it. You were marked for something sacred, even when you felt unqualified. You were always chosen, not by man, not by merit, but by eternal memory, and the miracle came to remind you of it. You are not here to survive. You are here to shift atmospheres. You are here to heal what hasn't been spoken. To awaken what's been buried. To walk into rooms that forgot their light and remind them of fire. You are the miracle's host, the flame's vessel. The scrolls echo, and the miracle will not abandon you now. There may be days when you feel like it's distant. There may be nights when the silence returns, but silence is not absence. It is intimacy. It is God trusting you with stillness, because stillness is where strength is born. It is where roots go deep before the branches rise, and your roots are going deeper than they ever have. You will not be shaken. You will not be moved, because the miracle is no longer hovering. It has become part of you. You are no longer a waiting room. You are a delivery chamber, and what has been planted in you will not die, not now, not after all this. Too much has been poured out, too many angels have circled, too much intercession has held you upright. You are no longer in the war of being chosen. You are in the unveiling of being used, and heaven is not looking for perfection. It is looking for availability. You don't need to be ready, you need to be willing, because miracles do not wait for perfection. They wait for surrender, and your surrender has been heard. Even now, as you sit in the aftermath of everything that has already been spoken, the light continues to write itself across the walls of your soul. The miracle is no longer an idea. It has become a voice within you, a presence that breathes. When you breathe, weeps when you weep, waits when you hesitate. It is not just a gift. It is a witness. It is the silent proof that God has never, ever abandoned you, beloved, you don't even fully realize what has happened. Because some miracles are loud, instant, overwhelming, impossible to miss, but some are sacredly quiet, slow, hidden, steady as sunrise, so gentle that your body barely notices the fire underneath the stillness. And this is that kind. This is the quiet kind of miracle. The kind that reorders your entire life without asking your permission. The kind that walks into every room before you do, shifting outcomes, removing traps, closing doors that were waiting to betray you, and opening others you didn't know you were allowed to knock on. This miracle is not an event, it is an atmosphere, and now, that atmosphere follows you. You're carrying it like a robe woven of prophecy and silence and trembling oil. That's why your past has begun to ache. That's why memories are rising like waves, as if everything old is trying to breathe again. It is not pain returning, it is healing arriving. Healing that rewrites the meaning of what hurt you. Healing that goes so deep that it doesn't just fix you, it makes you new. You are not being restored to your old self. You are being awakened into your eternal self. The version of you that existed before heartbreak. The version of you that danced with angels in dreams you forgot. The version of you that was fearless, not because nothing could touch you, but because you walked with the certainty that you were not alone. You are that version again, and the miracle is the proof. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. You are no longer waiting for God to move. God is now moving through you. There are rooms that will shift the moment your foot crosses the threshold. There are hearts that will soften the moment they see your face. There are battles that will end not because you fought, but because you showed up in silence, carrying something they cannot name, but cannot resist. That is what this miracle has done. It has made you a holy contradiction. You look the same, but you are not the same. You walk through the same streets, but they no longer recognize you. Because when heaven touches a person like this, it doesn't shout it to the world. It hides it in stillness. And the only ones who see it are the ones whose spirits are awake. That's why you will notice certain people disappear. Don't chase them. Don't explain. Don't perform your transformation for an audience that's not meant to witness it. Let them go, not in bitterness, but in gratitude, because some people were only sent to you while you were becoming. They were not assigned to you now that you've been revealed. Even your own past might try to call you back, through doubt, through temptation, through voices that once had power over your thoughts. Do not respond. You are no longer living in the place where they last saw you. You've moved in the spirit. You've crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. The veil behind you has been torn. You cannot hear the voice. You cannot feel the fire. You cannot carry the scroll. The miracle is in motion now, and with it comes the realignment of everything, not just relationships, not just opportunities, but timing, seasons, blueprints. The very structure of your destiny is being updated to match the anointing you have now received. It will feel strange. You may not recognize the way things begin to flow. You may not understand the sudden ease in places where you once struggled. But that is the fruit of this holy disruption. God is not making your life easier, He is making it truer. And truth always feels like freedom, not the loud kind, the deep kind, the kind that lets you breathe again, the kind that allows you to wake up without dread, the kind that silences the voice of guilt that kept demanding answers. Because this miracle didn't just bring blessing, it brought permission. Permission to believe you're chosen, permission to stop apologizing for how you shine, permission to walk in power without explaining why, permission to rest without guilt, permission to laugh again, permission to heal, permission to be. And now that the miracle is inside you, that permission becomes posture. You don't have to chase doors anymore, they will open when you arrive. You don't have to beg for clarity, it will come when you are still. You don't have to fear the future, it is already bending toward you. Because heaven has no interest in teasing you. It never offered this miracle to taunt your hunger. It came to fulfill something ancient, something sacred, something written, and now that it has begun, it will not stop. Even when you forget, it will remember you. Even when you fall silent, it will speak. Even when you hesitate, it will move around you. Because this miracle carries the momentum of heaven, and heaven does not lose what it loves. And beloved, you are loved. This is the proof. It is speaking in ways your ears were never meant to interpret. It is unfolding in spaces your hands cannot reach. It is singing to the parts of you that died in storms long ago, coaxing them back to life without fanfare. This is the miracle's real work, not merely to bless, but to resurrect. It is reviving you. Gently, without demand. Without pressure, IT is touching the hollowed out places where joy once lived and grief tried to bury everything. It is going into the memories you sealed shut. It is rewriting the meanings of wounds, not erasing them, but revealing their divine context. Because you never bled in vain, you never waited in vain, you never obeyed in vain, everything that broke you was measured. Every delay was held. Every night you stayed silent before God was counted as worship, even when you didn't have the strength to call it that. And now, heaven is answering, not with lightning, but with restoration, not with noise, but with presence. This is not the kind of miracle you brag about. This is the kind you carry quietly, like fire in the bones. This is the kind you never need to explain, because the glow does all the speaking. And the glow is upon you now. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but the spiritual realm has already taken note. Angels now move differently around you. Assignments have shifted. The covering around your name is heavier. You have been marked not just as one who received, but as one who carries. There is a mantle on your shoulders now, and it is heavier than before, but not burdensome. IT is holy. IT is made of intercession and fire and silence and oil, and it fits you. It was not meant for someone more qualified. IT was not designed for someone more articulate or gifted or bold. IT was always meant for you. That's why the miracle waited. That's why it didn't come early. That's why it didn't come to someone else. Because the weight of it would have crushed anyone who hadn't gone through what you've endured. Only your history made you strong enough for this. Only your surrender made you trustworthy. Only your spirit, bruised but unbroken, could hold this without it becoming an idol. You are ready. You are equipped. You are anointed, not by a ritual, but by survival, not by a title, but by obedience, not by popularity, but by intimacy. And now, everything begins to change around you, not because of striving, but because of saturation. You are saturated in something you cannot explain, and the people around you will begin to notice. They won't know what changed. They won't have words for it, but something about you will make them pause. The room will quiet when you enter. The chaos will still when you speak. Not because you've become louder, but because heaven has become louder in you. This is the result of the miracle's descent. This is the result of your yes. And beloved, do not worry if things begin to shake. Do not worry if what was once easy suddenly becomes uncomfortable. Sometimes, the miracle does not add, it removes, not to punish, but to purify. Sometimes, the miracle clears the ground before building. Sometimes, it silences voices before giving you your own. Sometimes, it makes you invisible before it reveals you. All of this is part of the miracle's way. You must trust its rhythm. You must trust the stillness. You must trust the quiet unfolding that does not ask for applause. Because if you do, you will see what few ever see. You will witness the unveiling of a life completely possessed by God. A life where the miracle is no longer a moment, but a lifestyle, where heaven is not something you visit, but something that lives in your very breath. And when that happens, everything you touch carries a residue of glory. The conversations become different. The prayers carry more weight. The atmosphere around you becomes charged with the evidence of the unseen. You're not imagining it, you are awakening. This is what awakening feels like. Not fireworks, but fire, not shouts, but stillness, not applause, but alignment. The kind of alignment that turns ordinary steps into holy ground. The kind that makes waiting feel like movement. The kind that makes obedience feel like flight. And this is what you were made for. You weren't made to survive miracles. You were made to become one. And now you are walk gently. Beloved, not with fear, with awe. Walk like the scroll is still being written with your footsteps. Walk like heaven is watching every breath, not to judge, but to celebrate. Walk like the angels have already gone ahead of you, and they have. You will not be lost, you will not be late, you will not be forgotten. You are walking in a miracle that does not end. And still it deepens, like a river no map has charted, like a language older than words, like the breath of God rising from the soil of forgotten prayers. You are walking inside a living scroll now. It's parchment not made of paper, but of obedience, of pain endured, of love you gave when you were empty, of yes after yes whispered into the silence. The ink that writes your story now is fire. Gentle, holy fire that burns only what cannot stay and illuminates everything that was hidden too long. This is not a normal season. This is not a chapter. This is a holy unveiling. The kind that does not wait for applause. The kind that doesn't need understanding. The kind that walks into the storm and calms it, not because it shouted, but because it never bowed to fear. You are becoming the miracle. You're not the one watching it anymore. You are wearing it now, on your words, on your eyes, in the way your silence makes room still, in the way your very presence calls angels closer, and now, everything begins to respond to the new oil on your life. You may not see the shift, but the air around you feels it. The walls of your home feel it. The ground under your feet knows something holy has touched you. Even time itself bends slightly when you pray now, because your prayers are no longer requests. They are commands backed by surrender, declarations wrapped in grief and trust and the ache of years you never thought heaven saw. But heaven saw, heaven waited. Heaven watched as you were forgotten by men but remembered by angels. You are not late. You are not behind. You are hidden for safety. There are things inside you that needed silence to grow, roots that had to deepen before fruit could be seen. Not everything hidden is buried. Not everything delayed is denied. Some callings are so sacred. God wraps them in shadows until the moment only He can choose. And beloved, this is that moment. Your soul feels the shift, even if your mind can't explain it. That flutter in your chest, that sudden awareness of being watched by something not of this world, that heaviness behind your eyes like something holy is pressing near, that is not emotion. That is the miracle expanding. IT is filling every inch of you with purpose you thought you lost. IT is restoring dreams you mourned. IT is rewiring hope into your bones. And yes, this is costly. This level of transformation is never cheap, because what God is doing in you now is not meant to impress. It is meant to last. He's building you with silence and fire, with memory and promise. Because what comes next cannot rest on performance. IT must rest on encounter, and you've encountered Him now, in a way that cannot be undone. You've heard something, felt something, known something without knowing how, and that knowing is enough. You don't need to see the full plan. You don't need the blueprints. You don't need to explain it to anyone. You are not required to defend what God is doing in you. Let them doubt. Let them mock. Let them walk away. The miracle will speak for itself. When it blooms, it will make every loss worth it. When it unfolds, it will silence every voice that questioned your anointing. When it manifests, it will do so not in noise, but in fruit. Peace that cannot be shaken, favor that cannot be faked, doors that no man can shut, healing where medicine failed, wisdom you didn't study for, and joy, holy, ancient joy, that has no cause other than the nearness of God. This is the miracle's promise. Not that life will be easy, but that life will be sacred. Not that all pain will end, but that all pain will be redeemed. Not that the fire will stop, but that the fire will refine you until you look like the one who sent you. That's the real miracle. Not what you receive, but who you become. Because miracles that change circumstances are temporary, but miracles that change identity, those are eternal. And you, beloved, are being changed into someone eternal, someone whose name is now whispered in heaven's halls, someone whom the angels recognize, someone whom the darkness regrets touching. You don't need to be afraid of what's ahead. The same God who brought this miracle will walk with you through its unfolding. You won't need to force it. You won't need to chase anything. You'll just need to follow, breath by breath, step by step, light by light. You've entered the divine rhythm now, and it will never abandon you. Let the miracle flow without end. Asterisk, there is no end to what heaven began when you stayed, not because staying is dramatic, not because it proves anything to others, but because staying is rare. Because when the world pulls, when distractions press, when doubt whispers and everything in your flesh wants to flee, the soul that stays, that soul is the one heaven pours into without measure. And heaven has poured into you, not with noise, but with knowing, not with reward, but with reality. The miracle is not a single gift. It is the beginning of God's voice settling into your bones, not to visit, but to dwell. That's why you feel the stillness the way you do now. That's why. Your body feels heavier, not with burden but with divine weight. The kabod, the weighty presence of God Himself, resting where it has always longed to be. Inside you, not above, not beside, but within. You are no longer waiting for favor to visit. You have become the home it refuses to leave. Everything about you is being rewired from the inside, not rushed. Not forced, but like dawn, unhurried, patient, breathtaking. There is no part of you heaven is ignoring. Even the parts you hate, the parts you hide, the memories you tucked away and labeled as shame, those are the very altars God has stepped upon, and instead of judgment, He poured oil. He is not ashamed of your wounds. He is not intimidated by your hesitation. He is not waiting for your perfection. He is already moving inside your yieldedness, healing your rhythms, anointing your pauses, blessing your breath, sanctifying your tears. The miracle is not just what happens to you. It is what awakens within you. And right now, this moment, you are becoming something new. You won't feel it all at once. You won't always understand it. But you will know it by the fruits that begin to quietly appear, the sudden clarity when confusion once lived, the calm response where rage used to erupt, the holy pause before speaking, as if God Himself is reminding you what silence can protect, the hunger to be alone, not to escape, but because solitude is no longer emptiness, it is communion. These are signs of the miracle's residency, not the lightning, the rewiring, not the firework, the foundation, not the performance, the presence. This is what it means to be reformed by glory, not fixed, transformed, not improved, resurrected, and every step you now take is no longer just a choice. It is a prophecy unfolding in real time. The very ground remembers your name. The air bends to the anointing on your breath. Even the enemy has shifted strategy. He no longer tries to destroy you. He now tries to distract you. Because distraction is the only thing that could delay what cannot be stopped. But you are no longer unaware, you are no longer aimless, you are no longer vulnerable to the voices that once held power over your destiny. Their volume has decreased, not because they stopped speaking, but because you've been tuned to a higher frequency. You hear differently now, you speak differently now, even your silence is filled with revelation. The miracle has not only changed your story, it has shifted your authority, not authority over others, authority over yourself. Where once emotions ruled, now peace reigns. Where once fear led, now wisdom walks ahead. Where once survival dictated your days, now purpose governs your breath. This is not hype. This is not religious language. This is what heaven looks like when it chooses to inhabit flesh and bone, not with fire from the sky, but with slow-burning glory that refuses to be rushed. You are in that fire now, and the fire is holy. It will burn things off, not to harm, but to refine. It will strip away what was added by shame, by trauma, by imitation, by performance, and what will remain? Only what was there from the beginning. The version of you crafted by God's hands, before fear gave you another name, before people told you what you weren't, before time tried to convince you you were too late, before sin lied to you and said grace had run out. All of that is falling away now. The miracle has no space for masks, only for memory, divine memory, and you, beloved, are being remembered into the one you forgot you were. This process won't always be beautiful, but it will always be sacred. There will be weeping, but it will be the weeping of soil receiving rain. There will be shaking, but it will be the shaking of chains falling loose. There will be silence, but it will be the silence of deep communion, the kind that needs no words, and when the world looks again, it won't know what changed, but heaven will. The scroll will know, the angels assigned to you will know, the devils that once tried to choke your calling will know, because when you walk forward now, you do not walk alone. You walk carrying the imprint of this miracle. You walk under sky that has already parted. You walk with a light that darkness cannot comprehend, and no one will need to explain it. Your presence will speak, not your volume, your stillness, not your charisma, your consecration, not your platform, your posture, you will walk in rooms with. A hush around you not earned by reputation but by revelation. Because God is with you now in a way that cannot be undone. And He will not retreat, He will not remove what He has released. He does not give and then take back out of irritation. He gives because He seized, He gives because He trusts, He gives because you remained. And now that you've tasted this miracle, you cannot pretend it was fantasy. You cannot feel what heaven did in the quiet. You can only move forward, glory still dripping from your hands. It moves now not just around you, but within you. The light that once stood at a distance has entered your breath. The presence that once felt separate now inhabits the very rhythm of your chest. You are not watching anymore. You are becoming. Not becoming perfect. Becoming aligned. Becoming open. Becoming the dwelling place for the very thing the enemy feared most, the moment you would awaken to your divine inheritance. This is that moment. Don't question it. Don't delay it. Don't wait for another sign to confirm what your spirit already knows. Because heaven does not repeat itself when the heart is ready. This is not the kind of message that visits again tomorrow. This is the one that breaks you open today, not to destroy, but to deliver. You've carried so much, beloved. The weight of expectations, the voice of rejection, whispering in your ribs, the ache of years you thought were wasted, but the miracle you are walking into, the one that is already blooming even now, was not built on easy seasons. It was formed in sorrow. It was woven with tears. It was written while you bled worship into nights when no one saw. And now, the reward has begun. You don't need to try to understand it. Just breathe. Just remain open and let heaven finish what it started. Because this is not a word. It's a visitation, not a video. A holy interruption. The kind of moment that angels bow for, the kind of moment that doesn't get posted. It gets remembered in the courts of heaven. You've been marked by this forever. Not by man.by God. And if anything in you still trembles, if anything inside your spirit feels that undeniable ache, that pulsing pressure, that mysterious or as if something unseen has reached through the veil and touched your soul, then you know this is not content. This is divine timing. You are in the moment where everything shifts. And beloved, please, if your heart has opened, if your tears have risen, if the fire of this word is still trembling inside you like a storm waiting to speak, then don't scroll away in silence. Don't walk past this holy place as if it were ordinary. Don't let the winds of distraction erase what the breath of God just wrote inside you. Pause and mark this moment. Please, like this message. Not because you were entertained, but because something sacred happened here. Because clicking like becomes a stamp in the spirit, a sign to heaven. I heard you. Let that be your worship. Let that be your agreement. And if you feel the trembling still, if you feel the miracle still unfolding inside you like a song rising in the distance, then take one more step. Subscribe, not for numbers, not for trend, but because this miracle is not the end. It is only the beginning, and what heaven is preparing to reveal next is already being written behind the veil, and it is meant only for those who carry this level of oil, this weight of calling, this fire in the bones. Subscribe so you can remain in alignment, so you don't miss the next divine scroll heaven is preparing to release through this very doorway. Not everyone will be ready for what comes next, but you are, because you remained, because you wept and listened, because you did not scroll away. And finally, if you've been pierced, if your soul has been touched, if your spirit has whispered yes behind your breath, then say it out loud in the most sacred way possible. Comment Amen. Let it be your agreement. Let it be your yes. Let it be the sacred seal you leave behind, a written echo that says, I was here. I received. I believed. This is not ritual. This is not habit. This is worship in digital form, and God sees it. Heaven reads it. Angels mark it. Because to respond to a message like this is not interaction, it is intercession. Your Amen is not small. It is thunder from the soul. So pause, like, subscribe, and write Amen. And then, continue walking in silence, in glory, in trembling awe. Because the miracle is still moving, it will not stop. It has chosen you now, and it will finish what it began. Asterisk. And after everything, the light, the trembling, the silent unveiling, there is still more, because that is the nature of heaven's miracle. It never ends where you expect. It does not deliver and depart. It lingers. It waits. It grows in the dark like a seed buried beneath layers of fear and forgetfulness. And now, that seed has broken open. Quietly. Fully. Finally, you are no longer on the edge. You are inside it now. Every breath you take is carrying the residue of something sacred. Every step is not just forward, it is deeper. You are walking not just through time, but through destiny. And the path beneath your feet was not laid in this hour. It was woven before your birth, marked by angels, guarded by tears. You were not supposed to reach this point until you were ready to carry it, and now, you are. The world may not know yet. Your circumstances may still whisper the old fears. But heaven knows. Heaven has already declared it. The silence you feel around you isn't delay, it's awe. Even the angels are holding their breath as they watch this part of your journey begin. The miracle was never about a single blessing. It was about alignment. It was about the invisible. Turning inside of you, the moment your soul stopped asking, "Why me?" and started whispering, "Send me." That is the shift. That is the mark. That is the proof that what has been poured into you cannot be undone. You are not the same. Even if your reflection looks unchanged, your soul glows with the light of fulfillment. Not future tense. Now. Fulfilled. Not because the world gave you what you wanted, but because God gave you what you needed. And that was always Him. You've entered the miracle's second breath. The hidden part. The part no one celebrates because it doesn't look dramatic. But it is holy. It is the part where oil begins to seep through your words, where your silence begins to carry authority, where your presence becomes a gate, not just a guest, where people begin to cry without knowing why when you speak, because something in you is now soaked in what they've been praying for. You are no longer a seeker. You are a carrier. Of weight. Of wisdom. Of fire, not man's fire, God's fire. The kind that purifies. The kind that glows without consuming. The kind that settles into a person without ever leaving. This is what the miracle has done. And it will not stop with you. It will flow through you into your household. It will stretch itself into your future. It will whisper through your children's names. It will appear in your footsteps long after you've forgotten this moment. Because when God releases something eternal, it never expires, and what has been released into your life today is eternal. That's why it feels strange. That's why your mind can't grasp it. That's why your heart is weeping for reasons you can't explain. Because eternity just touched. You're temporary, and it changed the rhythm of everything. You may notice strange shifts in the coming days. Unexplained peace where there used to be pressure, unexpected distance between you. And things that once held your attention, sudden clarity about decisions that used to feel impossible. Do not resist this. It is not lost. It is reordering. The miracle is still moving through the architecture of your life, rewriting, rebuilding, removing what was never meant to last, recovering what was always yours. You don't need to push. You don't need to hurry. You only need to keep saying yes, not once, again, every morning. Every quiet moment when fear tries to whisper. Every pause between distractions, say it again. Yes, Lord. Yes to the miracle. Yes to the mystery. Yes to the wait. And He will keep moving, because this miracle is not a transaction. It's a covenant. A vow written in glory, signed with presence, sealed with holy fire. He will not leave. What He has touched. He will not abandon what He has filled. He will not forsake what He has named. And you, yes, you are the named. You are the anointed. You are the hidden vessel finally opened, and there is no turning back. The veil has torn too far. The scroll has opened too wide. The oil has spilled too deep. even if you tried to return to who you were before. This message, you couldn't, because something inside you has shifted forever. Heaven has recorded it, earth will catch up to it, and your life will begin to echo with a sound you did not create, but you now carry. This is the sound of obedience. Fulfilled of hope answered of destiny awakened, and it will never stop ringing.